I know you guys have probably seen this clip already because I've seen it all over the internet, all over my FYP for the last couple days. Yeah, we got to talk about this. And not just this, while we're here, we also have to talk about the insanely embarrassing interview Nancy Pelosi did with Christiane Amanpour. And for context, she's in Michigan right now, which is a critical swing state in this election with a very large Muslim American, Arab American, and Palestinian American population.
How risky is it that you could lose the election?
Well, it is undeniable that it is something that everyone is aware of what is happening there. I speak publicly all the time about the fact that there are so many tragic stories coming from Gaza. And, of course, the first in this phase of everything that has happened, the first and most tragic story is October 7th. And what happened that day, and then what has happened since. And I think what's critically important as we look at this moment is, one, acknowledging the tragedy of what has happened in Gaza in terms of the extraordinary number of innocent Palestinians who have been killed, and taking that seriously and speaking truth about that. In addition, of course, to what I said about what happened on October 7 in terms of 1,200 innocent Israelis being slaughtered, women being horribly raped.
I feel like when she gets to the SA hoax, it's a good time to stop. Because whenever they start to get to the SA hoax, it means that they don't know what else to say, and so they're trying to appeal to emotion by repeating that lie. I have not seen a single interview that Kamala Harris has done talking about October 7th where she does not repeat that hoax. And it's particularly disgusting and egregious because as a woman, she understands what she's doing. The constant repetition of the mass SA hoax that she does is on purpose. And the point is to elicit disgust and horror at those savages. They want to perpetuate the idea that Arab men, Palestinian men, are brutal savages. So anytime you hear that hoax repeated, understand that's what they're doing. It's not an accident. Anyway, I got distracted with that side note because it's just so enraging. And it's so enraging that she can't talk about October 7th without doing that. But let's get back to the original question. She was asked in the important key swing state of Michigan, do you realize that you could lose this election? And the reason why the reporter's asking her that is because a lot of Palestinian Americans, Arab Americans, Muslim Americans do not want to vote for her because of the genocide, obviously. And instead of actually addressing their concerns directly, she goes straight into the false equivalencies. Right into the false equivalencies and the disgusting dehumanization that we see over and over and over again of the Palestinians. Oh, I know. It's a real tragedy what's happening to the Palestinians because of that earthquake. They always talk about it like it's a natural disaster that nobody had any control over, which is another reason why I can't deal with their BS about we're working tirelessly on a ceasefire. We're working to end the genocide. We're in community. No, stop. You're not. You're literally not. You're actually helping them escalate it. You're not just not doing anything to stop it. You're actively giving them the weapons and the cover to help them escalate it to Lebanon and Iran. It's actually insane mass gaslighting because while you are using one hand to give the Palestinians aid in Gaza, you are using the other hand to give the Israeli regime the bombs that are killing them. You cannot look at what is happening in Gaza a year into this genocide and just simply say the U.S. is being complicit. No. We're not just being complicit. We are an active participant in the genocide. We are actively funding them and giving them weapons. We just gave them a new defense system, THAAD. We're actively sending troops over to the Middle East now to help them. We are actively giving them cover and money to escalate into Lebanon and Iran. So this isn't just being complicit. This is actively participating. But also as a side note, that doesn't take away from the fact that the Israeli regime are the ones actually committing this genocide. Because I have heard some people be like, no, this isn't even Israel at this point. This is just the U.S. This is the U.S.'s genocide. No. Yes, we deserve a lot of responsibility. As I just explained, we are full partners in this. But don't try to let the Israelis off the hook, okay? Do not allow the Israeli regime and Netanyahu to totally get off the hook. Oh, this is just the U.S. This is just the U.S.'s proxy state and proxy war. No. Again, not disagreeing with our role in this, but stop trying to let the Israeli regime off the hook, okay? She needs to stop gaslighting everybody and being like, we're doing everything we can. We're really working hard to try to bring peace to the Middle East. You're not trying to bring peace. You're not trying to do a ceasefire. You are not trying to do an end to this genocide when you are actively actively giving them everything they need, money, weapons, cover, troops, in order for them to continue to do it. And the last part, the all lives mattering of the Palestinians. It is so fucking cringe and embarrassing that every single time the slaughter of the Palestinians is brought up, she has to be like, okay, so I know that this has nothing to do with what you asked me, and you asked me about Arab American voters, and you asked me about the genocide in Gaza, but let's talk about October 7th. The most tragic, yeah, did you catch that? Did you catch that? So Palestinians being incinerated, caught on fire, burning alive, having their intestines blown up and sitting on the outside of them like I just saw a little kid yesterday, that's tragic. But it's not the most as tragic. The most as tragic is October 7th. You know, where it all started. Where it all started? Endlessly fucking embarrassing. There are so many things wrong with this interview, and it is not even a long interview. The more I see the Kamala Harris campaign double and triple and quadruple down on the genocide and defending every single thing the Israeli regime does and quadrupling down on the Biden administration's policy, the more that I think that they're trying to lose. Not to mention, the more that they keep quadrupling down on conservative policy and trying to appeal to Republicans, the more I think they're trying to lose. Like, are you trying to lose? And if they do lose, they will blame everybody and their mother and their pet bird except for themselves. They will not take any accountability for it. We're going to hear about, I don't know, non-college educated white women. We're going to hear about fucking Arabs this and Arabs that. It's going to be a lot of fucking hate on Arabs. So we need to be ready to have their backs, you guys, if that happens. And of course, black men. Because even though black men vote overwhelmingly for Democrats in every election, but they always want to blame black men. Okay, so speaking of are you trying to lose, let's move on now to the Nancy Pelosi clip. So she was being interviewed by Christiane Amanpour, and this is what happened.
Given that there's an election, are you concerned by the very, very difficult polling for Kamala Harris, particularly regarding Arab Americans, particularly in the swing state of Michigan?
Yeah, well, it is something to be considered. When we talk about this subject, people forget. They forget a Muslim ban instituted by this president. One of the first things he did...
By President Donald Trump.
By Donald Trump, one of the first things he did...
That's what you have to say? That's what she has to say. Are you concerned that you may lose? And her answer is, wow, people forget that he put a Muslim ban in place. In other words, why are you Muslims so ungrateful? There's nothing affirmative. There's nothing, this is what I will do for you. These are my commitments or campaign promises. No, nothing. It's all shut up, Muslims, and vote for us or else Trump will kill your family harder. Could they be more condescending? Do you think a single Muslim American voter in this country is unaware of Trump's Muslim ban? You think they're unaware of it? You think they're unaware of what he could do in a second term? That they haven't considered that. And that's what you have to offer? That's what you have to offer. Muslim and Arab Americans might not want to vote for you because of the genocide. And your answer is, yeah, I know, but did they ever think about the Muslim ban? Those liberals, please. Come get your grandma. This is embarrassing. Amazing the white supremacist paternalistic language she uses. Oh, when he put the Muslim ban in, Democrats flocked to the Muslims' protection. Cringe. But to actually go out there with a fucking straight face and say, no, Joe Biden has been a friend of the Palestinians. Do you have any idea how embarrassing and fucking out of touch you sound? Just stop. And then she goes on to repeat the conspiracy theories that Russia is actually the one behind the pro-Palestinian protests. Like, actual melted brain. Friends, I just want you to remember all of these interviews. All of the interviews, the ones that we've talked about, the videos that I posted, the viral videos of things that they've said. I want all of us to remember them. Because if Kamala Harris loses, if Democrats lose, they are going to do a full rewrite of history. They are going to blame everybody else. They're going to blame the left. They're going to blame black men. They're going to blame Arabs. They're going to blame Muslims. They're going to blame Russia. They're going to blame China, Iran, TikTok, anything that they can do to not have to self-reflect. That's why it always makes me laugh when I see people on the left or progressive people being like, well, you know, if Democrats lose, they'll really have to reevaluate. LOL. They're not going to evaluate shit. They're going to do what they always do, which is move right. There will be no self-reflection of the fact that they are running a very right-wing campaign. And if we really wanted to have that conversation, even right now, before the election even happens, we could look at exactly the time frame that Kamala Harris decided to pivot her campaign away from a winning message to a Republican-centered loser message. And something that blue MAGA and Democrats libs love to say is, oh, but don't you realize the consequences of what would happen if Trump won? Do they? Does the campaign? Because they have the polling. They're seeing these interviews. Why aren't they worried? I want to know what is so worth it to them about this genocide to lose the election.